Now we will move, Mr. Frank, to the last subject and very important subject, which is the subject of human rights. The situation in Western Sahara actually is deteriorated drastically during the last months, especially after the 3rd of November 2020. Do you receive reports and communication in your office with detail violations? And what measures did your office take to report, especially that we are talking here about non-self-governing territory and the war zone?
I can just speak of what my office did, and what worries me. Now, it went up and down the last 10, 12 years in the war zone or at the wall, and there were fights, and there was always a danger that this could be instrumentalized by the one or the other side, this situation, this tense. But we heard and said and talked to our foreign ministry, and when there were violations of human rights. And I remember there was that, I think it was in Lyon, this uproar, this demonstrations, and people were sent into prison just for demonstrating. That was quite a time ago. And we visited some people that were tortured by people from the police in Lyon. And not even a day later, the foreign ministry of Morocco called me up and said, "Who did you meet? What was this about?" This reminds me of the stories of East Germany, the Stasi, of behind the Iron Curtain, and I get very sensitive on these issues. So even from this, just openly speaking into my ear and into the ear of my embassy, hearing this confirms that there are grave violations of human rights in several areas of human rights.
Nearly now 7 months, social medias, videos, and direct testimonies showed how the Moroccan authorities are harshly ill-treating the Sahrawi human rights activities. Sultana Khaya, who is the president of an organization called the League for the Defense of Human Rights and Against Plunder of Natural Resources. She is really suffering nearly now more than 7 months with her aged mothers and her sister. The international organization of human rights, including such as Amnesty International, they have all launched an emergency call insisting that the authorities of Morocco must immediately lift the arbitrary house arrest of Sultana Khaya and her family. However, her situation is getting worse every day. Do you have any comment?
I agree. I agree with the messages of the findings. Now, I cannot confirm any finding because I'm not on the place, it's always with media and messages from both sides. I'm not confirming the one that says it, and I'm not confirming the one that says it's not. That I say there are these grave issues, and people that were thrown into prison, into confinement and stuff, without legal procedure as we expected, as even Morocco has signed the international agreements, have to be taken out of prison. That's what I agree with. I cannot exactly say what happened in that name that you mentioned, but from what I know, she has to be taken out. These persons have to be taken out of prison and given their freedom back.
Is it possible to file a lawsuit against those Moroccan officials who committed crimes and genocide against the Sahrawi people?
I would say there are parts of these crimes that have to be challenged in later years as soon as the situation is cleared, and that some of them have the right to challenge that. I cannot say it specifically, even being a parliamentarian that has to be on the other side, the three pillars, And so I'm not a judge, but from my understanding, there are reasons enough in several cases to sue the authorities.
The same concerns goes to the human rights situation. The European Union is doing nothing to compel the Moroccan respect human rights, and worse, always praised Morocco for human rights records. What's your comment?
I would even broaden that. I would not just say it is the Western Sahara people, that have right to challenge the country. There are also Moroccan opposition, the leaders or bloggers, that should in the future do that and have all right to do that. I cannot say who exactly, but I do believe that. And I have to be, as a country, challengeable. If we did something wrong, we need to stay. We have to be taken serious. But on the other side, we see some developments in Morocco that have been a bigger or better speed than in some other countries, even in the Maghreb or in some other Arab countries. And this is the reason why Morocco, from my opinion, from my awareness, is sometimes saying, oh, we're better than, They cannot compare yet with other countries, but with the own league, they are in some issues better. And that's always taken in front in the diplomatic channels. For example, they say in religious freedom, we're one of the best in our region. That is maybe true, but that is not saying that in the other areas, they're as bad as others. And they have to be taken serious there too. And I think I cannot say whether Morocco is doing really as good as they should in the process they are going through. That's why I'm in many ways on your side as the Saharan people, saying you were burdened in a way that is not allowed by international law and not by the laws and the things that even Morocco has signed internationally. So we have to take them accountable.
Why is Western Sahara still a human rights monitoring block hole?
Can you say that again?
Yes, I repeat. Why is Western Sahara still a human rights monitoring black hole?
There is a processes answer, and that says when the first monitoring, issues in these matters were implemented, that started later than the first UN mandate for your region. So it was not reintegrated. Now, I challenged 2 or 3 times this issue, even in my party or in my country or in Europe. It has not happened yet. They always hide, as I said, behind Spain, behind the US, behind France, saying, no, it's not enough reason to reintegrate it. It was in the 70s and the 80s, the first issues, and now to reintegrate, that's not how we do it. Now, for me, that's dumb, but it's just me, I have to get a majority to get a mandate on human rights monitoring into that mandate of the issue in your country and your region. I don't know. I feel it awkward, as you probably do, and this is an outcome of our not focusedness and not prioritizing that conflict. Yes, and in a way, it's a black hole.
As you are following very good and very closely the issue of Western Sahara, do you think that the events such as the tweet of Mr. Trump, as well what is happening now in Spain, or the relation between Morocco and and Spain or the European, that helped the question of Western Sahara to come back again in the international media?
Now, I believe, even though I disagree bluntly and even passionately, the decision of Mr. Trump in December has raised a big awareness. And the second issue is the refugee situation that you now have in the northern part of Morocco. But the first real issue that changed the tide of awareness was that wrong decision of the United States.
Relating to this question of the tweet of Mr. Trump, do you think that the new administration of America, or the administration of Mr. Biden, can correct the situation by just the respect of the international law?
Now, can, yes. As you asked, can. Will, I don't know. But I see a possibility. I see the possibility, if we give it a little bit more time means still this year, and our calling the Security Council, as you know, the Germany has made it a topic there.
No.
And if the Security Council, where the United States have quite a big word, and maybe there will be a taken back to a certain extent, or the whole thing. But as it is linked to the Israeli situation, it is not just taken back like that. It's not easily taken back. But yes, I believe it is possible, and I still hope that it will be taken back.
Mr. Frank Henrik, before we finish, would like to give you the last word to tell whatever you want.
We, as a group of friends in our parliament, as a sort of interparliamentarian group in my parliament from different parties, 5 different parties, send you greetings. We are still with you. We have to do it best possible, lawful, after international laws and personal and human rights laws. But from what we see, we are still with you, and we would even like to come again, which was not possible in the last months. We tried to make a trip to your place in November, December, which was, as you know, not allowed. So from my side, greetings, in this case, to Africa, to the place you are in this beautiful continent. And I hope I see this year changes. So when I visit, that we have a different status for your place and for
Thank
your
you.
people.
In the end, Mr. Frank Henrik, we appreciate highly your willing to answer to our questions, and we are very delighted on behalf of the staff of CH 24 Hours to get honored with such presence with us today. Just to remember that Mr. Frank Henrik has been elected as a member of the German Bundestag since 2009. He's a member of the Christian Democratic Union Party. He's as well a full member of the Development Committee and the Human Rights Committee of the German Bundestag, focusing on issues of human rights, humanitarian aid, and economic cooperation and development.
Okay.
Thank you
We'll
very
send
much.
it. Thank you very much.